What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. Today I'm very excited to check out Elysium from Space Cowboys. This is for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 plus, and it'll take you about an hour to play. And in Elysium, you are going to be acquiring Greek gods from the center of the table and placing them in your area. When they're up top, they're going to give you super awesome special abilities, but you're going to need to move them to the bottom where they're going to lose those special abilities in order to gain delicious victory points. It's a delicate balancing act. Now, Elysium is the follow-up from Space Cowboys to the immensely popular Splendor, which came out last year. It was an awesome game. Does this live up to the prestige? I don't know if that's the right word. Words, they're so confusing. Let's just look at the game.
Alright then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Elysium. So first and foremost, we have our handy dandy rule booklet. It is 12 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples. It is a very, very well done rule booklet. It'll have you up and running in no time at all. And the game itself is not too complex once you know what you're doing. I also want to make a recommendation to watch Rodney's Watch It Played video he did of this game. It is spectacularly done, as always, and have you up and running in 20 minutes. You'll pretty much know everything that's going on. I also want to mention that there is another, what looks like a rule booklet, but actually this is just going to go over each and every card in the game, going into detail about what it does. Very awesome. I'm really glad they included this. That's something a lot of companies don't do, but it is very nice. One more thing I want to mention before we get started is that there's quite a bit going on in this game. In fact, this is the all the components I'm not using to show you. So there's tons of stuff going on in here, but I'm going to try and cover the basics for you. So in Elysium, what you're trying to do is you're trying to gain the most victory points. How are you going to get victory points? Well, you might acquire physical victory points based on some cards letting you do that, which are going to go on your board right here. Or you might acquire victory points by drafting cards, which will be in the middle area of the table, onto the top of your Elysium, which is going to be this thing right here. When they're on the top right here, they're going to give you special abilities. However, once they go to the bottom, they can grant you victory points. They're going to grant you victory points in a couple different ways, but we'll go over those in a couple minutes. First, let's go over the components, and then we'll get a little bit into the gameplay. So first, you're going to have your player board in front of you, and this is the heart of your area. You're going to have on there 4 of these red tokens right here, or 4 of these tokens right here, which are going to be blue, red, yellow, and green. And these are what you're going to be using to acquire cards from the center of the table. You might think you're going to use these coins, which we'll get to in a second, but that's not how you acquire cards. It's actually going to be these guys right here, so they're very, very important in how you play them. Next, you're going to start with a certain amount of money. I believe it's 3 coins. You're going to put all your coinage over here in your little coin slot right there, which is where your coins go. Next, you're going to have persistence points. You can earn persistence points, but only if you use some of the cards in the deck. We're not going to go into all the different kinds of cards in particular, but needless to say, that's what you're going to be earning, and those can get you a lot of victory points if you decide to focus on them, but only if you have one of the families, and I'll get more into that, what that means in a minute. Last but not least, you're going to have a slot over here for victory points. You're going to start with a certain number of victory points, depending on whether you're first, second, third, or fourth. And then you are going to hopefully earn more victory points based on what some cards in the game do. Because, let's get to the cards, every different family is going to have its own unique different attribute that it's going to do. It's really unique in that aspect. So when you play the game, you are only going to be playing with 5 of the 8 families. And each one of these are going to be a different unique family that you can play with. They're going to have different colors, and they will act very, very differently. So for instance, the blue one is going to be all about attacking. So this player, this one, when you get this, it's immediately going to happen because it has a lightning bolt. All their players are going to discard 1 gold, so that kind of stinks. The yellow one's going to be all about money for the most part. So this one right here, this one, you can do it once per turn because it has a little symbol where you can tap it. And if you do it, you're going to receive 1 gold for each yellow card you have in your domain. And your domain is the top part right here. So all your active cards up here. This one's going to let you receive 1 gold. And we'll get more into what that symbol right there means in a minute. The green one is all about, the black one is all about letting you do something, but then also letting your opponent do something. So for instance, this is the action that you can take, and this is a really good action. You draw a card and play it face up into your domain. This is actually one of my favorite cards in the game, why I picked it. And then you may transfer 1 card, and this harp symbol right there is the transfer card. That means that you're going to be able to take cards from the top and move them to the bottom, where, as we mentioned, they're going to score you victory points. But on the other side, right here, all players may choose to do one or the other. So you get to draw a card and take it face up and move something down. But this one, they only get to do one of those two things. Now you may be noticing those little symbols in the upper right-hand corner. That's how much this card is going to cost. So I mentioned that you're actually going to be acquiring cards using these guys right here. So let's just pretend that all these cards are left up here. So yeah, this isn't actually how it would work in the game because you'd have more cards or less quests, but we'll get into how that works in a second. So let's just say all these cards are out here, and I wanted this card right here. I would need to have a blue and a green in front of me. Luckily, I do have that. So I would take this card, I would place it on top of my area right here. I'm running out of a little space right there. And then I would have to get rid of one of my four. It doesn't have to be the blue or the green. I could get rid of the yellow if I wanted to. And right now, looking at this board, there's nothing yellow out here that I want. So I might say, all right, yeah, yellow, you can go. And then everyone else would continue to draft and get back around to me. I'd say, you know what, I really could use some gold, and might take this one. And I'd say, all right, that one's going to mean I have to use my green, which I have. Then I would have to get rid of one more, and I might be looking, and I might say, I don't want this card, I don't want that card. So you know what, I'm going to get rid of my red as well. So now I'm limited to getting only things that are blue or green. So I couldn't get this one right here because it needs a red. I couldn't get that one because it needs a red, so on and so forth. You might also notice this black symbol right here. That means anything. So this could be green and blue, green and red, green and yellow. As long as you have green and another one, you could acquire this card. You're going to do that until each person has acquired 3 cards and 1 quest. Now the quest we haven't mentioned yet, but these are extremely important. You're going to have quests up here that are going to allow you to do various different things. Now the first thing you're going to notice is there's a number on top. That is the player order turn that you're going to take next turn. So if I got this, next turn I am going to go first, and after everybody's drafted their 3 cards in the quest, I could go ahead and acquire that one, and I'm going to go first next time. Also, it means I'm going to get 2 coins, and I'm going to be able to transfer 1 person from the top to the bottom, because as I mentioned, the heart means you're going to transfer them to the top to the bottom. I would also gain 2 victory points immediately, so I'd be like, ooh, victory points. So that would be pretty nice. So as you can see, they don't get worse when you go down. In fact, this one might be better for you if you wanted to transfer a lot of people. They're all just different. But as you can tell on the top right here, red, blue, green, yellow, you are still going to be having to use your tokens in order to get those. So let's pretend that blue and green were gone, and all I have left is blue and green. What does that mean? Well, that means I get to take one, so I still get to take one, but I flip it over to the other side. It's an incomplete quest, which is bad. I'm only going to earn 1 coin and get to transfer 1 back up from 2 victory points, transfer 1, 2 coins. So it really can hurt you if you have incomplete quests. But it's still not the end of the world. But anywho, during the drafting phase, everyone is going to get 3 cards, and everyone is going to get 1 quest every single time, and that's the drafting phase, pretty much. So let's get back to how you score victory points. So scoring victory points in this game seems like it's going to be daunting. We have all these tokens over here, and you're like, what does that all mean? Well, first and foremost, those don't score any victory points. That's just the turn or player order marker. So let's get on to how this is going to work. So on your turn, the way you're going to score victory points is you either need to have sets or runs of numbers. So, for instance, this is going to be a little score sheet card, which I have not mentioned yet, but it's very, very helpful once you understand all the symbology on it. But I'll show you how you would score points. This right here would score you points, because you can have sets of a number. So right now I have 3 2s. And let's take a look at this guy right here. We'd go right here in the colored one, and I have 3 2s, so I would have 4 victory points. If I got another 2, I would have 8 victory points. If I had another 2, I'd have 12 victory points, which is quite a lot of victory points. Also, you're going to have these tokens, which are specifically for if you decide to go for the 2s, the 1s, or the 3s, like so. And how this works is, this is going to be a moving victory point. So as soon as someone acquires 2 2s, they are going to get this, and for all intents and purposes, they have 6 victory points. However, if someone else comes along and plays a third 2 and takes that lead from them, then they are then going to get this 2 victory points. And then if someone else comes along and plays another 2, then they are going to take that 2 victory point marker. And then the person who's the first person to get to 5 is the one who's going to earn it, period. So this could potentially be traveling around the board, and it gets to that point where it's like you might have 3 or 4 and think you're safe, but then you'd be like, well, I don't want somebody to swoop in and take it, and you have to decide, do I want to focus on completing the nice set of 2s so I can earn this completely, or do I want to, just kind of move on and work on something else? It's a delicate balancing act. And so there's one of those for 3, which obviously is going to be worth more points. It's worth 9 victory points because 3s are harder to come by. And there's one that's worth 1. There's one that's worth 3 that is for the 1s. So that's one way you're going to score points. The other way you're going to score points are by completing runs of cards. And this is a run of cards. A 1, 2, 3 of the exact same color will net you points. It will earn you 6 points, but at the same time, it will also, if you're the first person to do it for that symbol, earn you this guy, which is going to be worth 5 victory points at the end of the game. Then the second person to do it can get 2 victory points, and you could potentially do it if you wanted to as well. Probably not advisable, but you still could. So that is how you're going to be scoring points in the game. So what you're going to be doing in Elysium is you are going to be drafting cards out of the middle, putting them up top right here where they will get you delicious victory points. Then you'll be taking your quests, which will let you transfer cards down, gain coins, gain victory points. And the way you transfer cards down is you have to pay this number of coins to move it from the top to the bottom. So that's pretty much all you need to know about scoring. One more thing I do want to mention is that you will see this symbol from time to time, and this symbol means that you score those at the end of the game. So for instance, if you have no citizens in your Elysium, this card is worth 5 victory points. Which brings me to one more important point I should mention, even though we're already at the 10-minute mark, is that what are citizens? Well, citizens are the backs of the cards. So we mentioned earlier that sometimes you're going to try and take a quest, and it's going to be an incomplete quest. Well, citizens are much the same way. If you're ever looking at the cards in the middle, and let's just say you have green left and there's nothing green out there, then you would take a citizen, which is not going to give you any special abilities when it's up top here. However, once it goes down to the bottom, you can turn it into whatever you want, and it's going to score whatever color and number you want. But be wary, because it's also going to give you -2 victory points. So as you can tell, quite a bit going on to Elysium, but by no means a terribly complex game. But that, in a nutshell, was how you play Elysium.
Alrighty then, Elysium from Space Cowboys. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game is not going to be for everybody, 2 to 4 players, so it is a smaller game group. Also, I feel like 2 players versus 4 players is going to give you a drastically different experience. Also, another thing that's going to be in this game is that some people are really not going to like some of the families. I know my wife personally hates the blue family. She wants to just create her thing and do her thing, and she wants this to be like a Euro game where I'm not attacking her. So when I attack her, she gets very angry. So if you play with somebody who does not like, getting attacked that much, then this might not be a game for you, but I still think that it should be a game for you because this game comes with 8 families, and I'm sure with the popularity this game is probably going to receive, it's going to have even more families, and so you can just focus on the ones that kind of let you do your own thing. Also, I did have a complaint from my game group that when you play with 4 players, there's a lot on the board to be looking at. You have to be looking at a lot of cards and paying attention to what this person's doing, what that person's doing. It was a complaint that I really didn't feel was that important, but I wanted to mention it because my game group mentioned it. Last on the con side, I mean, the theme is there, but really it doesn't come through, at least for me personally. But moving on to the pros, I do want to start by saying my game group was lukewarm on this game. I was not, however. I really, really enjoyed Elysium from Space Cowboys. This is a home run for me. I really enjoyed this game. 2, 3, or 4 players, I will play this game just about any time. It packs a heavy punch for 60 minutes. What do I like about the game? I like the artwork in the game. I like the Greek gods theme. I don't know much about it. Obviously, I'm ignorant about a lot of those things, but I still like that theme. I like how differently all 8 of the families play. They are just drastically different, and I love that. Once you get an expansion to, literally it's going to be like Dominion, where no game is going to be the same, because you're going to have all these different families, and I like that an awful lot. I liked all the special abilities. Oh my goodness. Take note, game designer. Space Cowboys, I love you for doing this. They had all the symbology. The symbology, when I first got this game out, people were like, oh no, all this symbology. But they have on the bottom of the card, very small text, which might bug some people, exactly what that card does, and I appreciate that so much. That is such a great idea. Game designers everywhere should be doing that if you have symbology. But then again, I understand why they don't do that, because symbology is kind of there to make it so that it's not language dependent. But me being an ignorant American, I personally like it down there. What else did I like about this game? I like how it played 2 players. I thought it was really good with 2 players. I could see this being a go-to 2-player game. It's a lot of fun. It's back and forth. It plays super duper quick with 2 players. I like that an awful lot. Also, once you learn how to play the game, this is a really easy game to teach. One thing I enjoy about this game is it has a lot of bite, but it's not a complex game by any stretch of the imagination. It's just like, okay, guys, this is how you're going to score points. We're going to set all these cards, and you can only take stuff if you have these colors, and then you're going to lose a color, you do this, you do that, and then we're going to repeat over and over and over until the game is over. And I like that an awful lot. I like how clean the little board is, how you get, you have a spot for your victory points and a spot for your coins. I like just about everything about this game, and I gotta say, Beck's one of the best box inserts I have seen. So Space Cowboys. My gaming group was lukewarm on it. I had a couple people who really, really liked it. I had a couple people who said, you know what, I really don't want to play that ever again. I had a couple people who thought, it was okay. But for me personally, because this is Bauer's Game Corner, I highly recommend Elysium from Space Cowboys. It is an awesome game. I look forward to checking out more expansions and playing with all the different combinations of the different families and seeing what kind of cool stuff you can do. So that is Elysium from Space Cowboys, one that I personally highly recommend. If you enjoy this content, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below, and please be sure to post in the comments below. Greek gods, is this your kind of theme? For me personally, I really enjoy it. I like Percy Jackson and the movies and the books. I like Hercules. I like all that stuff. I really would love to take a college course about that, but that would be just a huge waste of money. But tell me, is that a theme that interests you? For me personally, I really do enjoy that theme. And, as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.
That was the review for Elysium. For more reviews and previews, check back at Bauer's Game Corner.